Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Epic Marvel Podcast announcements after party. This is coming to you live directly after the announcements that we had over on the Near Mint Condition channel. We unloaded all of the epics that are coming in August and September of 2025, and I wanted to hear what you had to say about them. So let's just pull up. Let's see if I can find. I should have done this ahead of time, but I got to find that slideshow that I made for Omar so that I can share it with you so we can see all of the books that were announced. There it is right there. Let's get this up here. Glad to see everybody. Yeah, I'm glad that you are able to spend not just the time with Omar and me before, but with me now here too. Um, so let's quickly go through these just as a reminder, or maybe you're watching this for the first time. It's got August is very heavily unbalanced toward the modern era, and then September is heavily unbalanced toward the classic era. So let's just quickly go through these here. Um, Star Wars Kanan Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 1, The Last Padawan. It says September, but I think this is actually supposed to be coming in August. We announced this previously, and then it got pulled from the schedule and moved to just this slot right here. Uh, Not massively overwhelmed this time, except for the Amazing Spider-Man Modern. Now, I wonder if that's just because usually we are doing like 4 months instead of just 2 months, so there's more opportunity for you to be excited about something. With only 2 months, there are not as many options, I guess, out there for you to be excited about. Miles Morales, Spider-Man Modern Era Volume 2, Spider-Man No More, continuing through the Brian Michael Bendis era of Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. Young Avengers Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 2, Dark Reign, collecting a bunch of random miniseries, seemingly random, but that's kind of all that was happening with the New Avengers between 2006 and 2010. Thor Modern Era, sorry, we don't have a lot of these covers. Marvel wasn't able to get them finalized before we did the live stream, so we have just placeholders. But this is Modern Era Volume 3, The World Eaters. This is the Matt Fraction era of Thor. Rom, Epic Collection, the original Marvel Years Volume 2. This is the classic series. It's already out in Omni, but now we have it coming in Epic Collection. Fantastic Four Epic Collection Volume 12, The Possession of Franklin Richards, the Doug Mensch era, which is the era that's coming before John Byrne. We got a couple more volumes before we get to John Byrne still, but we are getting close. And there's a look at the back cover. And then in September, we have a reprint of X-Men Age of Apocalypse Volume 3 Omega, which is not an Epic Collection, but it is a thick trade about Epic Collection size. Spider-Man Deadpool Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 3 Road Trip. This is finishing off this series, going up to issue 50. It's going to be complete in 3 volumes. Amazing Spider-Man Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 14, big time, skipping way ahead in order to start the Dan Slott era of Amazing Spider-Man. Generation X Volume 5, Family Business. Generation X, this is the Jay Faerber era of Generation X, collecting the entire thing from start to finish in this volume. Um, a lot of people don't even know about this content, so it's probably one of the more obscure books in this collection, in this these announcements here. Guardians of the Galaxy Epic Collection Volume 3, more of the Jim Valentino stuff from the 90s. Micronauts Original Marvel Years Epic Collection Volume 2, Home Sweet Homeworld, both Micronauts and ROM getting collections pretty close after the release of their first volumes. So that's very nice to see. There we go with the back cover. And then next is Ghost Rider Epic Collection Volume 3 Death Race, continuing the classic series of Ghost Rider up to issue 50, plus another What If. I forgot that there's a what if in this one, and there's a what if in the next volume that we're going to talk about here as well, which is Daredevil Epic Collection Volume 8 To Dare the Devil, which is the beginning of Frank Miller's excellent time on this title here. So there we go. That is a list of everything that's coming out um, in August and September, just kind of plowing through that. Here's a slide. I know it says May on there, but that's actually supposed to be September. My mistake. Wow, I'll be getting the Gen X volume, probably the only thing I'll be getting from the announcements. That is probably because that stuff isn't getting collected anywhere else, right? Everything else is either had a previous collection or we'll be getting an omnibus soon or something like that. Actually, that's right before John Byrne. John Byrne starts FF at 232. Okay. Um, that's pretty good. 232. Where is that Fantastic Four? Where did it go? Well, that's excellent news. Then we are going to have a wonderful time with with volume 13, which should, if they stick with the one a year, actually we're getting two classic FF volumes this year. And I wonder if that's because they want to get those out of the way so that when the movie comes out, they will have it in line with the Burn Run with volume 13. That would actually make sense. It's for some nice movie synergy there. Not that the movie is basing it on John Byrne stuff, but to have kind of the most popular Fantastic Four run currently in print when the movie hits is a good idea. Um, The Young Avengers is a great gap filler. I have the contents of volume 1 and what will be volume 3, the Gillen complete collection should still be easy to find. That's the volume of FF immediately before Burn as the writer and artist. That's right. That's what we said. Thank you. Um, we normally get two X-Men a year. Here's an interesting question. Interesting statement. We normally get two X-Men a year, one in quarter two and another in quarter four. Since we don't have anything yet for 2025, I was really expecting to see volume 24 in this announcement. Yeah, I was wondering about that too. X-Men actually has been a little hit or miss. They don't get two volumes every year. Sometimes it's just one, sometimes it's two. So it could be that this is one of those years where we're only gonna get 1. They normally do have 1 in December, so that should probably stay consistent this time as well. But they could also have 1 in October and December. It's not unusual also to kinda see 2 back to back, that the precedent has been set for that there. A lot of Bronze Age and Modern Age. You know why, Tracy? It's because pretty much all of the Silver Age is already out there, out of the lines that are announced. That is, the Bronze Age is kind of the only stuff that's left. Most of these long lines have worked their way through the 70s even, and so now we are firmly in the 80s with pretty much all of the long running titles. Um, I have a lot of money to save so I can get more Marvel Epic collections, classic and Marvel era. And you're gonna get the Marvel Epic, the Ultimate Epic collections too. Yeah, that is. I am a big fan of the Epic line. I know that that's kind of some people love it, some people hate it, some people love some of it, some people love none of it. But you know, I was all in when that stuff started. I loved it, even Ultimates. I loved it all, and I'm very excited to read it again because it's been for most of that stuff since it first came out. I haven't read it since. And for Shogun Warriors fans, this FF volume contains Doug Mensch's conclusion to that series. Wow, could you imagine a Shogun Warriors epic collection? That would be pretty crazy. Um, yeah, looking for the Ghost Rider epic collection to start. Is that what you mean by GR? Because we have started the Ghost Rider Epic Collections. Um, Unless you mean looking at the Ghost Rider Epic Collection to start your collection for this month. Maybe that's what you mean. John Byrne was the best Fantastic Four. Well, um, I don't know. That will depend on your opinion. Everybody has different tastes. A lot of people really. I know. I would say that John Byrne is one of the most popular Fantastic Four runs. Um, I would maybe even say that it's more popular than Stanley and Jack Kirby. Is it better than their run? I don't know. Probably not. Um, but not all. I'm not a fan of all of Stan and Jack Kirby's run. Um, Most of it is good, but there were some points, especially toward the end, where it was a little lacking. But yeah, here Phil's response to you. No, that was Lee and Kirby. Yeah, I mean, you can't really beat that. They were on fire for so much of that run. Classic Fantastic Four stuff. Um, doesn't Age of Apocalypse count? It's not an epic collection. Doesn't count for reprints. Sorry. It's not entirely unprecedented to get a couple of volumes of the same line within a few months of each other. There was one time when we had Spider-Man, um, Spider-Man, what it was, a volume 23, I think, and 24, 1 month apart. In fact, I think it was 3 weeks apart. That was partly because of a schedule change late in the game, but still. I'm planning on getting Daredevil and Ghost Rider. I'm hoping we get Hulk and X-Men in the next announcements. That would be great. I would like to get another Hulk as well, and I don't think we have a Hulk volume on the schedule for this year yet. Can't remember. Here's what's happening January, February, and March. No Hulk there. And no Hulk here either. Not even a modern era Hulk. And you would think that with a certain movie starring a certain character coming out in February, that we would have seen some of those Hulk collections, but I guess not. Do we think they'll launch a Cloak and Dagger line? There are four thick trades out there that they could easily reskin, and I think that they will get to that. Um, those thick trades came out because of the buzz around the TV show, which I really love that first season of that TV show. Second season, maybe not so much, but the first season was so good. Um, will they focus on Cloak and Dagger heavily now that the show is not in the public eye and like there's no media tie-in? Probably lower down on their priority list, but they've got the restoration and they've got the mapping already complete, so it would be easy enough to just reskin it as an epic line. And then there's a fifth volume that would work as a very first modern era Cloak and Dagger volume as well. It was called Runaways and Reversals. So many versions of Frank Miller's Daredevil already, but I'm excited for the Denny O'Neil stuff in between the initial and Born Again. And that stuff, I think we determined on the last stream that volume 8 and volume 9 will be Frank Miller. Volume 10 will be Denny O'Neil. Volume 11 will be the return of Frank Miller with Born Again. And and then that catches us up right to volume 12, which we already have. It's called It Comes with the Claws. Yeah, we need Spider-Man, She-Hulk, Dazzler epics. Am I detecting a trend here? Well, we have She-Hulk. She-Hulk already has a line started, and we have 3 volumes of She-Hulk already. Where is my She-Hulk these days? Oh yeah, we have 3 of them already there. So, am I detecting a trend here? I think that your comment is that why are they sidelining all of the women starring solo books? And Dazzler, for one, is getting an omnibus and is going through Masterworks. So I don't think that they um, are shortchanging her. It's just that they needed to do the restoration on those books first. Spider-Man, likewise, is going either recently. has finished going through the Masterworks, or they're still going through Masterworks. So they're not ignoring that character either. They will be hopefully that will come to Epic Collection now that they have all of the restoration on that title as well. So I think they're getting to it. It's just that they none of that stuff was if in the 70s and the 80s had been restored before. So they had to get through that process first before porting it over to their budget line of Epic Collections. Curtis, do you think Marvel will save all of their epic reprints till the very end of the catalog year? Uh, I'm not sure what their plan is for the Epic Collection reprints. Last year, they were very consistent, or sorry, that's this year. This year, they are very consistent with two a month. And then in 2025, so far, they only have one a month. In fact, there's a couple of months that don't have any at all. So I'm really hoping that we see some regular reprints happening for September and onward, August, September for this catalog. I think that they just haven't got their reprint schedule in place yet, but it should be coming. I'm saving money for DC Finest mostly next year. 17.99 on in-stock trades is hard to beat. I'm so jealous that all of you folks have such a cheap option for those those books. They're very expensive up here in Canada. I know they're cheaper than Epic Collections, but we don't get the same sort of discounts. So there you go. Lee Kirby remained the best FF. Oh, there, Mr. Tex is talking about today's announcements. Looking at Ghost Rider 4. That's what you were clarifying your previous comment. Thanks for that, Mr. Tex. Curtis, a lot of people like myself tend to use epics as placeholders until the omnis get announced or reprinted. What are you talking about? Have you ever done the reverse and bought an omni until a run gets epicked? Um, I don't usually buy omnis at all. So, but I have bought a lot of other thick trades until and then we'll and replace them when epics come along. But I did get one omnibus just recently because I know that it's not going to come to Epic Collection ever, and it's this one right here, Marvel versus DC. Very happy about that one. Some good stuff in there. And um, you know, I have two other Omnis. Do you want to see what they are? I'll show you what they are. This one that I've got for super cheap, because this obviously is not coming out in Epic Collection anytime soon, because of the Master of Kung Fu stuff in there. And then also I have the Muppet Babies Omni because I love the Star comic stuff, and I watched Muppet Babies all the time in the 80s as a kid, and I got to read through this Omni with my daughter who loved it as well. I don't think any of those are going to be in epic format anytime soon. So there you go. But if they do come out in epic format, will I upgrade to epic collections? I just might. Um, for example, Ramen Micronauts. So I was this close. I was almost ready to buy the ROM epics, and I said I'm gonna give it just a couple more months just to see if maybe there'll be an announcement for epics, and then they did. So I didn't have to buy those omnis. Uh, am I kicking myself that I didn't get the omnis for Master of Kung Fu now that that line's canceled? Yes, kind of. I kind of am. So I got to keep an eye out for some good deals for those ones. Ben says most excited for modern Thor and classic Guardians of the Galaxy. George says, didn't both Loki modern volumes come around the same time? Yeah, they were within a couple of months of each other for sure. You're getting David is getting Ghost Rider and Guardians. Artworks Comics reader doesn't like the fact that there is no Hulk here. You want more Peter David Hulk? The second season was forgetful. I'm behind in my comments here. We're talking about Cloak and Dagger, right? Yeah. I They lost their direction for season 2. It went like all of that dream stuff was I was like, what is this? I loved the first season dealing with the human trafficking and all that. I thought it was so good. And then in the second season, or was the second season the human trafficking one? Now I'm getting it all confused. Maybe it was. Hey Curtis, you know if those Age of Apocalypse reprints have some new scans? There was some trouble with the old ones. Now, this depends. By the old ones, do you mean the trades that were titled Age of Apocalypse: The Complete Epic, Volume 1, 2, and 3, or whatever? Because those ones, yes, they did have some troubled scans. And the new editions that were called Alpha, Rain, and Omega, those three trades, they did use newer, upgraded, better scans. They're not all the best. In particular, the Generation Next issues are still have very oversaturated colors and they don't look great. And we had the same problem with the actual single issues of the Generation X series in the Generation X epics as well. These reprints, will they use the same scans? I'm pretty sure they will use those same scans, so they're not going to be upgraded at all, um, unless they do an overhaul, which I doubt that they will. I suspect they wanted a Frank Miller epic out there in time for the Disney Plus series. I think so too. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we see them jump ahead um, in 2026, right to the volume that's going to obviously be called Born Again as a media tie in. I think that they might do that. Or will they save that for very last? They might. Oh, Dazzler Masterworks are finished. Okay, I will expect that we would get Dazzler Epics pretty quickly after the selling window for the Omnibus is past. In case I have to leave abruptly, I'm taking care of my mom. I wanted to say have a great vacation, Curtis, and thanks for all your hard work. You deserve it. Thanks for the kind words, Matt. I hope your mom's okay. And I understand having to to do that. You have obviously placed your priorities in the right places. Any new classic epic lines to announce? Maybe that recent delivery you got? Clandestine, Nomad, Silver Sable, Quasar. Um, the recent delivery I got is one that was already announced. It's a book that's coming out in January. Do you want to take a look? Should we take a look and see what's inside here? Let's do that. Am I a fan of DD by Ann Nesenti? I absolutely am. I love that line. I thought it was so wacky. The stuff with the pig farm and then him going through hell with all the devils in the Inferno story. I loved it. I thought it was great, and I really liked John Romita's art in that one too. That was a great era for him with Al Williamson inking his work. I thought it was very, very good. Oh, Micronauts Epic Collection. Yes. Should we, just before we get to unboxing this, let's take a look at that one more time. The Micronauts Epic Collections. We announced Volume 2 right here. Volume 1's already been announced. It's coming out in the second quarter of 2025. And then this one's coming out here in September. So that's pretty amazing, isn't it? That we're getting those so soon after the Omni and also in quick succession. So very happy about that. I think that we're going to get through that series pretty quick before the license runs out, which I know everybody was definitely happy about. Okay, here's the new one, new book that's coming out in January. Start of a brand new line, Blade Epic Collections. This is volume 2. It's called Night Stalkers. And Blade's on the spine there. It's got a color very similar to the Doctor Strange color. Maybe that's their Midnight Suns color there. On the back, we have Blade and a couple other characters that I don't know because I haven't read Night Stalkers before. Dracula returns to the realm of the unliving, but Blade and fellow vampire hunter Frank Drake, Frank Drake, um, are determined to make sure his revival is short lived. And then a new era of horror dawns in the Marvel Universe. Blade joins Ghost Rider and Johnny Blaze in a looming war with the ancient demon Lilith. But the Daywalker won't fight alone. He's gotten the old gang back together. Blade, Drake, and former vampire Hannibal King form the Night Stalkers. So I guess that's Hannibal King right back there. Um, and the hours of darkness are no longer safe for the forces of evil, and that includes Baron Strucker's Hydra and cult leader Shiv. But will the Punisher stand with or against Night Stalkers? So this is Tomb of Dracula, the 1991 miniseries 1 to 4, plus Night Stalkers 1 to 6, plus Ghost Rider 31, and material from Midnight Suns Unlimited number 1. So um, this is uh, a new line. This is volume 2. Volume 1 is going to have all of the like Tomb of Dracula appearances from Blade, his origin, backstory, and all that kind of stuff. And will it include his 10-issue 90s series? This volume won't, but I'm guessing that the next volume probably will. So it's kind of funny that they got to reprint everything, so they're going to reprint the back cover even though it had nothing on it. Um, this was kind of a what do they call it? Like DC called it the prestige format with it's a square bound book. The pages were like 60 pages or something. But the return of Gene Colan and Marv Wolfman on the title is definitely not something to shake a stick at. So it's really cool that they were able to do this series here. And there's Gene doing some kind of 90s sensibility panel layouts, which he didn't do a whole lot of in the old series, but this is definitely the 90s. So he's experimenting. His style definitely changed in this era, and I think he was inking himself. Do we have credits on this book here? No, it's Al Williamson doing the inking on this too, so that's pretty good. That's the classic team. But yeah, his style did definitely change to the 90s. Look at that censorship on the with that placement of that word bubble there. That's funny. Tomb of Dracula is one of the best books that Marvel was doing in the 70s. I absolutely loved it. Really great. Oh, look at that Dracula. And then the credits for each one is at the back of the issue. That's what it is. That must be the back cover. So the other one was the inside cover. And there's the inside cover page again. Okay, so that's that. Let's skip ahead. So that actually takes up half of your book. That 4-issue miniseries is half of the collection. And then we get into Night Stalkers, Rise of the Midnight Suns. So at this point, um, Marvel had they had their editorial office was split into different silos. There was one editor that was overseeing, looks like Bobby Chase, overseeing all of the what they called the Midnight Suns books, which was kind of their horror themed titles, including Ghost Rider and Morbius, and Doctor Strange was included in that. So this is the start of a new series called Night Stalkers, written by D.G. Chichester, who also did Daredevil for a while in the 90s, and then Ron Garney on pencils and Tom Palmer on inks. So if you love this era of Marvel horror, I think you'll be in for a treat here. There's a lot of darkness, a lot of death. Look at that guy hanging from his neck. There's a lynching, a lot of Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze. I mean, not Johnny Blaze, Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider here. Doctor Strange shows up. Everybody's here. This is starts at the beginning of, or sorry, in the middle of a story, Rise of the Midnight Suns. This is part 5 of 6, and so we get a little bit of a recap that was printed in the comic book at the time at the top here as your text recap, and then that's it. So where's the next issue here? This first issue looks like it was a big one. And then, oh, Ghost Rider is part 6 of the story, so we get the conclusion. Because I guess the Midnight Suns must only appear starting with part 5. So we get part 5 and part 6. That's Ghost Rider. Let's see here. Moving on. After that is Night Stalkers issue number 2, featuring Hydra. Hard to turn the pages here. Um, and then there's issue number 3, Blade taking center stage there. This was his ongoing series at the time. He didn't have his own ongoing. I think that happens after the Night Stalker series ends. Night Stalkers number 4. And let's see what else is here. The Punisher is in this one here, as it said on the back cover. There's a big picture of him right there. Look how massive he looks. I love it. And then at the very back, I think it said we have Midnight Suns Unlimited. So it looks like they're going to part out those issues to include just the character relevant stories and put them in the other Epic collections. I assume we'll see other stories show up in like the Ghost Rider books and stuff. So Marvel Age, there's a Marvel Age article in here for the Tomb of Dracula. Um, Night Stalkers featured on the cover of Marvel Age. Another article. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. There we go, and some original art from Gene Colan in the back there. That's cool. Lots of pages of it. There we have it. And then a look at the poly bag that some of those issues came in as well. So there you go. That's your look at a new Epic collection coming out in January. And there we go. This Blade is the only classic new line, I think. Oh no, that's not true. 2025 also sees the start of ROM and Micronauts, as well as the Ultimate titles, Ultimate Spider-Man, X-Men, and Ultimates. So there's a bunch of new stuff coming. Um, we just need to see more of like the older series start. So I'm hoping that when 2026 rolls around, we're going to see the start of a new era of Epic collections where we kind of jump back and get some more of those 1960s and 1970s titles. Now that the Epic collections are pretty much all through the 70s, the ones that the long running lines that exist now, we're basically only getting like 80s and 90s stuff now. But that means we have space for some more reprints of other stuff. But I mean, I think they're waiting for some other lines to wrap up because they have like 50 lines going now. So introducing more lines means that they take up space, pushing other stuff out of the way. Let's see here. Question: do you believe that the next Daredevil Modern Era Epic Collection will come with issues 51 through 55, the non-Bendis issues to pad out the page count? Those are the David Mack issues, right? With the Echo story? Because I think we already have that one announced and it's coming out in a few months. I think. Let me just double check. Um, Volume 4, The King of Hell's Kitchen, Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 4 will include issues 51 to 65. That's right. So it will include those issues, yes. And that follows the Modern Era Epic Collection, or the just the Epic Collection's mantra of not skipping issues. It will be an unbroken run from start to finish. So there you go. It will include those, which have been left out of the Daredevil complete collections by Brian Michael Bendis because they were not Brian Michael Bendis written issues. You're crying, Marvel Team Up. Yes, I think we all are. That would be such a great book to have. We would love it. So it would be really, really great. Ryan Bragg is here. Hi, Ryan. Gonna watch the replay later. Excellent. Very good. Okay. Yeah, there are. You can see the full list of Epic collections if you go to Epic Marvel, epicmarvelpodcast.com. I have a guide to all of the Epic collections and what they reprint. I mean, you could also get the same info on Wikipedia, but wouldn't you rather support your local podcaster and your local YouTube channel and go over there as well? All of them have some affiliate links to Amazon that would help me out as well. There you go. Steven, you're hoping to pick up Amazing Spider-Man, Young Avengers, and maybe Daredevil, Rom, Miles if DC Finest don't cripple me first. Man, they are coming out super fast. Hey, I've been trying to read through these DC Finest books, but boy, are they like 600 pages. Is You don't think it's that much? It's not that much bigger than an Epic collection, but it takes up a lot of time. So these are the ones I'm working on now. I've been able to get through about halfway through before I'm like, well, I got to move on to the next one. Otherwise, I'm going to fall way behind. So I haven't actually finished reading any one of these volumes except for Batman. I read all of that one, but I've been working through Green Lantern about, halfway through that one. And Justice Society. This one's a slow read. It's very, very dense. There's a lot going on in here. So I'm only like a third of the way through that one, but I'm really enjoying those stories. Then I haven't started Legion of Superheroes yet. Um, I'm gonna start that one this week, and then also Zero Hour. These are the two that just came out, and um, I will be tackling these two pretty soon. In fact, I'll probably take these two on the plane when I go on my trip, and I might take this one too. But that's a that's a lot to take. The problem with taking big books on your trip is that you finish it and then you just have books that you've read that you have to like schlep around and take back with you. Um, it might be more effective if I buy stuff there and read the stuff that I'm buying there. But I want something for the plane, so I'm going to take both of these ones and hopefully spend some quality time with Legion of Superheroes and Zero Hour on there. Will you still upload videos on DC Finest channel? You know what? I've decided that I'm going to just cancel all of my DC Finest uh, social medias, and I'm just going to stick with the Epic Marvel podcast. I'm going to rebrand it, I think, to just call it the Epic Comic Podcast, and then just do all of the anything comic related. And I'm not just limited to Marvel and DC. I can like if I wanted to talk about Zot, I can talk about Zot on there, and I don't feel bad. In fact, I shouldn't feel bad, but I would anyway. What would you expect to come first? Amazing Spider-Man 16 or all of the Clone Saga and Epic collections? I think if they continue to do one classic volume per year, then Amazing Spider-Man Volume 16 will come out in 2030. I know that's like, oh, 2030 so long. Um, but that's 4 years from now, right? No, what year are we at now? 2025. So volume 11, 12, 13. So volume 12 in 2026, volume 13 in 2027, volume 14, 2020. So yeah, 2029 is when volume 16 will come out. I think that's my guess. I'm sorry for all of you who are waiting. That's probably what's going to happen. They might jump ahead and get it to us sooner, but I don't know. I'd expect Marvel to start repackaging the modern era Spider-Man as classics before Classics Volume 16. They are starting to do that. In today's announcement, we got Big Time, Volume 1 of Big Time, which is going to be Amazing Spider-Man Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 14. They are just going to repackage those ones. Where are you off to? Off to see family abroad for the holidays? Yes, my in-laws and extended family lives in Iowa in the United States. So I will be crossing the border in my annual pilgrimage to the south in order to do that. I'd expect the last couple of Avengers West Coast to be Forceworks and related crossovers. I think so too. I would like that. I don't really think we need Forceworks Epic Collections. Let's just call it, and it'll sell better if it has Avengers branded on it. So let's just call it Avengers West Coast Avengers Volume, whatever, Forceworks. I think that would work just fine. Uh, Epic, between Epics and DC Finest, my wallet hates me. Yeah. I know, it took me a little while to figure that out, didn't it? I think we'll colonize Mars before Amazing Spider-Man. I love you guys. That is so funny. Um, yeah, it'll come. It'll come eventually. And you also have to keep in mind that we also haven't had other volumes in that amount of time as well. It's just because that one is a gap filler that people want it, but we also haven't had Fantastic Four by John Byrne in the 12 years that Epic Collections have been running. Um, and it's there's something has to be last. It's just for some reason we've all focused on that volume, which honestly isn't even the best Spider-Man volume. It's Gang War. It's not like it's the best story that Spider-Man had in the 80s, but people have really latched onto it. So we'll see. um, what else do we have to talk about? I don't think so. I'm sorry that we didn't let that I didn't let other people join my live stream for this one. I'm rethinking that whole process just because um, it's a dangerous thing to just let complete strangers onto your live stream. You never know what's going to happen. So cautious about that. I've been talking to some of my other live stream buddies, and they couldn't believe that I did stuff like that. So it's like, well, you have a point. Got to be careful with that kind of thing. So, um, I love that you're all in the chat though, and I love that everybody is over here and leaving lots of comments because I still get to interact with you that way. Thanks, Logan Wayne. Appreciate that. I hope that you have a great holiday too. Superior Spider-Man counts towards the legacy numbering, could be counted as Amazing Spider-Man, Modern Epic, or Superior, or both. Kind of hoping that they just collect it as part of the Ultimate, or sorry, the Amazing Spider-Man Modern Era Epics. I don't want it to be its own thing, and I don't want them to skip it. I would definitely don't want Amazing Spider-Man to be like, oh yeah, here's a text recap of 2 years or 3 years worth of Spider-Man right there. Um, James, you volunteer Max Appleman to join me next time. Oh, could be cool. Max, I'm gonna make a YouTube video of a song that Max wrote because I came across a song in this Superman Golden Age, in that first DC Finest, and I'm like, Max, you got to write a jazz song to this, and he did it. And so I'm gonna see if we can get it recorded half decently, and then we'll debut it at some point. So there we go. Okay. I think we're going to wrap up. I have some actual real work that I need to do, but it has been super fun chatting with everybody. Once again, um, We have a whole bunch of epic collections coming out in August and September. Here they are. I know that that slide says May right here, but it should say September. This is August and September of 2025. Just 2 months, pretty evenly split of of modern and classic right down the middle there. Um, no Venom, no Carnage, only a little bit of Deadpool this month, and so a lot of great content. Thanks everybody for sticking around and watching. I hope this is going to be probably my last live stream before Christmas. So I hope everybody has a great holiday and you enjoy your time with family or going on vacations if you get to do that. And if you get to just sit alone at home, I hope you have some great reading material to go with you as well. Um, Everybody, have a great day. Have a great weekend.